Whoa! What is up, everyone? I'm James Bainey. I'm here from the Resistance broadcast, and we are going to break down Chapter 2 of the new Willow series. Now, this actually debuted yesterday, right? But we gave Chapter 1 a little chance. We let Lacey talk about that one. Now, I'm going to be talking about Chapter 2 today because you probably actually didn't get a chance to see it until last night anyway. So, here we are. But this is Chapter 2, The High Andowyne. What can I say about Willow? I mean, this is my first time kind of getting to talk about it with you guys. I didn't always love Willow or anything, but I have gotten the opportunity to see more of this series than I'm going to be talking about today. And I can already tell you right now, I love this show. I love the lore. I'm bought in on this show. So take everything that I say about this as far as a review goes with a little bit of grain of salt, because I have seen the episodes and I do know where it's going, but we're not talking about that today. We're talking about Chapter 2, but keep in mind that while we talk about Chapter 2, I am talking full on spoilers. So if you have not seen Chapter 2, I will be ruining it for you if you're into that sort of thing. So please, if you have not watched Chapter 2 yet, Disney Plus, go check it out. But then come back to this video and we'll talk. For everybody who has watched it, let's get into it. Chapter 2, right? We just got a huge reveal at the end of Chapter 1. We'll get into a little bit more of that later. But I think the emphasis of Chapter 2 is all about belief. Belief for multiple characters. Number one, Willow doesn't believe in himself, and other people don't believe in him either. It's very evident from people that he's had in his life in the past. They don't believe, he is who he says he is. There's this whole thing where he feels like he's sort of leading on his own people, and he reveals numerous times in this episode that, maybe he's not as, great as he needs to be, or maybe he's not as I don't know, like he says he's afraid to go out and protect this girl, and it takes a little bit of his family and things like helping him out, and a little bit of lessons from other people along the way as well. So there's the Willow angle of belief in yourself, right? But then you don't even have to mention Laura herself, right? Laura doesn't believe she says she doesn't believe she is who Willow is saying that she is to some degree. She says, I feel maybe that could be true, but I don't know. How do I know? How am I going to be this person, this legendary figure, mythological figure, if you will, to certain degrees? And that's tough for the rest of the group as well. How do they just swallow that? And you can see in the dynamic between multiple characters, do we believe this? Do we not? Well, that's sort of how legends are. They're not always who they say they are, but, they end up being, this and that. And I mean, obviously this is a Lucasfilm story. We see tons of stuff in this that are sort of similar to, like, we obviously hear Willow talking about the power that binds us all together and how there's light and dark and other things. You hear that Star Wars angle. You also hear just the simple fact that I'm talking about the heroes that you thought you had an idea of. Maybe they're not as great. This series is stepping in right away with saying, like, Willow in the movie pretended to kind of save the day. I mean, he did save the day, but he didn't do it the way he thought, and now he's built up this name and this thing. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the whole Luke Skywalker thing, but that's here nor there. I'm just saying you can tell that this show pulls from its own type of storytelling. This is a Lucasfilm production at its core, and I love it because I think they tell good stories. The one other thing about the belief angle is that there's also the audience, like us, ourselves. Do we believe what we're hearing, right? So Willow talks a lot about this vision that he's had in the future of, how this whole thing is going to play out. And we're sort of being asked at this time, do you believe that? Do you believe that's where this is going? do we think that visions are the truth and he has to face it, or do you think visions are what we make of it? This is a good time for you guys to pop into the comments and tell me how you as the audience is sort of watching the show, and in that comment section sort of talk with other people and kind of put together what you think is actually happening. Is that vision an accurate portrayal of the future? We'll find out. I mean, I don't know. But do you believe that Laura is the chosen one, and she is that daughter, and she is the one that's going to save everybody here? And I mean, we sort of get a little bit of a hint at that being factual at the end of the episode. We'll get to that in a second. I do want to say that meanwhile, while all this is happening, obviously they're being tracked down, and that the guy who's been possessed captures Laura and takes her away and stuff, and we see the tree. So we're leaving this episode in a little bit of peril, but it's exciting because we've just discovered that she is who she says, or who Willow says that she is. She's a special person. Now she's being captured, and I'm ready to get this story going, especially when leaving on such a good cliff note of her being captured and taken from the group, when the rest of the group is saying, she's the most important person in our group. We have to have her. And then you see her get kidnapped. It's tough. But I really like where this is going. I did want to throw out a couple other things. How are you guys feeling that contemporary music, it's a scored show, but it has this specific, the endings have these contemporary music pieces. And I just got to tell you, tell me that before the show starts. I go, that sounds kind of weird. I don't know if I'd like that or not. And then when I see it and the song choices that they've done so far and the way that they implement it, I love it. I actually think it's a good choice, and it really freshens it up and reminds us that, in a good way, I don't know how to say this. In a good way, you're sort of reminding that we're watching a television show in today's age. And this is just a production, but not in a way that pulls me out of it. It just gets me excited in a way that potentially maybe just a musical score at the end would be oh yeah, and that, they do that. I don't know, something about the contemporary music makes me feel a little bit more wow, they really landed this television show. I'm not explaining myself very well. Just trust me. I think it's a good thing. Lots of movie references in this episode. Obviously, I want to talk a little bit about that. I think the big one for me is the witch finger thing. And so if you haven't seen the movie, I'm sure most people probably did a quick rewatch, but if you haven't seen the movie, I would go ahead and spend the 2 hours to try to refresh yourself, or if you've never seen it, learn about what that past story was, because so far this show really kicks off on the legend that was that movie, and you're just going to miss out on a lot of the jokes if you don't get, what was told before and how far people have come and the references and things. So I'd throw that out there. And first episode, obviously, but this one as well, throwing out those references. Go watch the movie if you haven't. Favorite moments. I think this show's funny. I actually think the humor in this show works more than I've seen in any of the other Lucasfilm stuff recently. Obviously, that would be Mandalorian. It's not that it isn't funny. It's just I think this show really nails it. And to me, some examples of that, Willow making the sweet and spicy reference, he's funny in himself, but then they make it extra funny by cutting over to Borman, and he makes his face and I don't know what it is. Specifically Borman, man, he's such a good character. There's another scene later where he's talking and he's what are you gonna name that dog? He's can I suggest a name? Borman. It's a good dog name, kind of thing. I think he's so funny, and I've seen where the show goes, but I do foresee him being a comedic character all through the show. So keep an eye on him, but I really like his character, and he might actually be my favorite out of the entire group of journeyers or explorers or whatever we want to call them, mission goers. I don't know. But I really like that character. And just to wrap everything up, like, I do really like this show. I like the direction it's going to go, so get excited. I think this is probably one of the better things that Lucasfilm has done, and I do put that up against Star Wars content, which we obviously love here at the Resistance Broadcast, and we obviously are very dedicated to Star Wars. But when it comes to Lucasfilm, we decided to take a little bit more. We go, hey, they're doing this new Willow series. Let's see what that has to give everybody, and I think it is absolutely delivering. So stay tuned for more reviews on each episode as they come out. We got a whole week now. That's a little bit of a letdown. The show's going to be weekly from this point on, but stay tuned to the Resistance Broadcast. We have a brand new channel as of just, like a week or two ago. So if you like this video or you're looking forward to other videos, whether it's, with Willow or with Star Wars or maybe even Indiana Jones or other Lucasfilm content, subscribe to the channel now. It's right there. It's below me, whatever, it's there. If not, you can click into the video, go and do the subscribe thing. But stay tuned. We'll see you next week, and goodbye.